Hi everybody, I'm in Orlando and I didn't vlog today, but I want to post something for you guys tomorrow. So I'm just going to kind of like hang out in my room with you, answer some tortilla talk questions, and I'm not going to edit it very much because I have work to do tonight that I'd rather edit like stuff for the show. So I'm going to do that instead of edit a vlog. So I hope you guys don't mind a very unedited, just like hang out with me alone in my room vlog. So I moved the camera because the lighting was bad over there, but it's kind of bad here too. Anyway, I'm going to kind of unpack my suitcase a little bit and try to figure out what to wear tomorrow. So yeah, I have shows in Orlando, Tampa, and I keep saying Fort Lauderdale, and it's definitely not as Jacksonville. So I just ordered room service. I think I'm the most tired I've ever been in my life right now. I probably was more tired like right after I have the twins and I wasn't sleeping at all, and like, yeah, but other than that, like that's like the same amount of tired I feel right now. Last night I think I slept a single hour because Maisie just didn't want to sleep, and she only wanted to sleep if she was laying on me, so I couldn't sleep if she was laying on me because that's not safe, you know, so I was trying to like stay awake the whole night because I didn't want to put her down because she wanted to cuddle me, and I was like, well, I'm leaving and I'm going to miss her, so I don't want to put her down. Like if she wants mama cuddles, I'm going to give her mama cuddles. And so yeah, it was just, I think I finally fell asleep around like 3:30, and then she started waking up at like 4:45 again and needed me again. And so then, yeah, I didn't sleep, and it was a very long day. So I'm extremely tired. I am very excited to go to bed, but I'm also very excited to eat. So I've ordered room service. I'm going to kind of unpack a little bit my suitcase and organize a little bit. And I was going to answer some tortilla talk questions. Amy and a million other people said, I'm in shock that this nature montage is all in your backyard. So gorgeous, my goodness. It's not. I was like, what did I do? Like, oh no. So everyone thinks, if you watched my vlog yesterday, I vlogged like that on my backyard because we had this big storm in California and I was showing like parts of my backyard, but then I was immediately like looking around at a nearby park and looking at like the creek at the park and the woods at the park and all this stuff with Flynn, just to like see the, like if there was flooding or whatever. Like we were just curious, so we went to a nearby park. That was not my backyard, but all the comments were like, whoa, your backyard is huge. And my backyard is huge. My new backyard is very big, but it is not the montage. Like there's a montage in my vlog yesterday, if you go back and watch it. I'm in the backyard with Maisie, kind of showing you some of the plants and stuff, and I do have a very big, beautiful backyard. But then I'm in like the woods, and there's like a river and, well, a creek, and there's like huge oak trees and like trails and like all this stuff. And everyone thinks that's my backyard. It's not my backyard, okay? It's not my backyard. I wish it was my backyard, that'd be so cool. But I was like, oh no, does everyone think I like own like an entire national park now? Like, I don't. I do have a very big, beautiful backyard now, and that was a big selling point. I think that was the problem, is that in the vlog I was like, one of the biggest selling points of this house, like one of the reasons I bought it, the main reason I bought it is because I loved how the backyard was like a big, beautiful, amazing backyard for my kids to grow up in. And then I immediately am showing like a montage on a hike with Flynn. So like we're on a hike at a park. But yeah, I do have a beautiful backyard. That was not my backyard. That was just a beautiful park. So I'm sorry, I misled you guys. That was not my intention, and I feel really stupid and embarrassed. But yeah, anyway, I'm unpacking, and I pulled out these shoes that I've had for years, and now I'm embarrassed that I brought these shoes because I love these shoes. Obviously, you guys see me wear them all the time, but my friend messaged me on Instagram because I posted a picture at that park wearing these shoes on my Instagram, and my friend messaged me and was like, oh my god, the chokehold those shoes have on you. And I'm like, I know, I wear them a lot, but I really like them. So I got made fun of for liking my yellow shoes, and now I feel like I can't wear them anymore because I got made fun of. But I'm still gonna wear them. I am so not that girly, guys. I'm not the girly that like is like, I wore this outfit already, I can't wear it again, or I've worn those shoes in too many pictures, I can't wear it again. Like, when I buy things that I like, I wear them like a lot, as you know. So I guess that's embarrassing, but whatever. Anyway, I love these freaking shoes. Eric bought them for me on his birthday one year, I think. I'm pretty sure that's like, it was years ago. They're Converse. They don't make these anymore. They're so soft and cozy on the inside, and they're waterproof, and they're like platform yellow Converse boots. Like they're so cute, and they're great hiking boots. They're great. I've worn them in the snow. I've worn them in the rain. I've worn them on hikes. Like I've worn these all over the freaking world. I love these shoes, and they've never done me wrong, and they've lasted forever. So like, why wouldn't I wear them everywhere? Anyway, I'm going to a theme park probably tomorrow. So I was like, I need comfy, cozy shoes that I can like walk all day in and be comfortable in. But now I'm like embarrassed. Anyway, so I have those. I need to figure out what to wear. Reha, I'm sure I'm saying your name wrong. I'm sorry. She said, Tortilla Talk question. I think ghost stories and things like that are so interesting. And since you think your house is haunted, what is the scariest paranormal thing that has happened to you? I know you've talked about them in the past, but it would be fun to hear the scariest one. I do think that I've told all my ghost stories online before, but the scariest, I have two really scary ones. I think the scariest one, I've told a million times, so you guys are gonna be bored, but I'll try to tell the Cliff Notes version of it. In college, I was out with some friends and I came home really late. And I came home to my dorm room and my roommate had really long curly brown hair and she was on the top bunk and I was on the bottom bunk. And when I got home, I was trying to be really quiet because she was obviously asleep. It's like 4 in the morning or something like that. I open the door and I see her sleeping in her bed with her long hair. It was like draped over the bed, the side of the bed. I was like, oh my gosh, she's sleeping, and I was trying to be really quiet. And I get ready for bed, whatever. I get into bed, and then while I'm laying in bed, I felt something was off in the room. I was like, something feels weird. And I just felt something like evil and yucky. And then all of a sudden I heard this breathing, and it sounded like a man breathing. It didn't sound like my roommate. Like at first I was like, my roommate's breathing so loud in her sleep. And then I was like, wait, that doesn't sound like her. It sounded like a deep man breath. And I was like, wait, what the heck? Why is she breathing like that? And so I was like, I said her name and I was like, hello. And I kept saying her name and she wasn't responding. And I was like, what is going on? And I was starting to get really spooked. And then all of a sudden my bedroom door like opened, like starts to creak open. And it's like 5 in the morning at this point. Like it's 4 or 5 in the morning. It's like in the middle of the night. And the door starts to open. I'm like, oh my gosh, like someone's coming in our room. Who has a key to our room? Like what's happening? And my roommate walks in and I was like, what are you doing? What's happening? And she was like, what? I'm sorry, did I wake you up? I just got home. And I was like, no, you're in your bed sleeping. She's like, no, I'm not. What are you talking about? I was like, no, I came home and you were in your bed asleep. I saw you in your bed asleep. And she was like, no, I have not been home all day. Like, what are you talking about? And I get out of my bed and I look, and the sheets of her bed are completely pulled back all the way to the wall. There's no one in the bed. And it was one of the scariest things ever. And like, I was crying and freaking out. And then the same thing happened to her a couple nights later. I came home late and I opened the door and she was like, you're in your bed, I saw you in your bed. And she started like freaking out. So then we had like to pray over the room, and like I think we had the campus pastor come. It was like a whole thing. So that was really scary. And then another really scary one was I was staying at a cabin and I didn't know this at the time, but now people tell me it was sleep paralysis that I had. So if you look up sleep paralysis, you'll know what it is. It's terrifying. Sleep paralysis is awful. And even though everyone tells me it was sleep paralysis and it sounds exactly like sleep paralysis, I still think it was a demon trying to possess me, because it was the scariest thing like literally that has ever happened to me in my entire life. But I was at a cabin and the cabin was spooky. Like things just kept happening at the cabin that like felt like something was off, like, and it just felt gross and weird, and like I just knew that there was some sort of haunting moment in there, whatever. Anyway, go to bed, and I am asleep, and then all of a sudden I wake up, like my eyes go, like fully awake, my eyes are open, but I cannot move. I'm completely paralyzed in the bed. Like I literally cannot move, no matter how hard I try. My eyes are wide open, and I see at the foot of my bed, well actually first, I smelled sulfur. So first I smelled sulfur. I smelled this. The only reason I knew what that smells like is because I took a jewelry class in high school and we had to use sulfur for something. I don't remember what, but so I knew the smell and I was like, oh, why does it smell like my jewelry class in high school? And then I recognized the smell of sulfur and I was like, oh my God, I have a friend who's a ghost hunter, a legit actual one, like on the show Ghost Hunters. And he told me once that like that smell means there's like a demon. Like, and so I was like, oh my God. So then, and I couldn't move at all. And I was like, what's going on? And I closed my eyes, and every time I closed my eyes, I would just see like blood and red and like horrible, very vivid, gruesome, bloody images, like every time I closed my eyes. But when I opened my eyes, so like not at first, but after a couple times of opening my eyes, if I remember correctly, which I probably don't, there was a figure at the foot of my bed, like a dark, huge, tall, like shadow. It wasn't like a person. It was like kind of the shape of a person, but it was like a shadow blob smoke, like is the best way I can describe it. And it was at the foot of the bed, and it was terrifying, obviously. And in my head, my mind, I was screaming as loud as I could, but I couldn't get it to come out. I was trying to scream. I was trying to yell. I was trying to do anything, but I couldn't move and I couldn't talk. I could only see. And so if my eyes were open, I saw a figure. and if my eyes were closed, I saw gruesome bloody images. And it felt like a strong man with his arms like this was pressing down into my chest like that to pin me to the bed, is how it felt. And it was easily one of the scariest like things I've ever been through, but certainly the scariest paranormal thing I've ever been through. So yeah, that was pretty spooky. I think this comment was supposed to be mean and they're like trying to be like sassy about it, but someone said, the dry shampoo makes your hair look super gray in the sunlight. I like it. I was like, what? Okay, if my hair looked gray in the sunlight, it probably was gray. I didn't have any dry shampoo in. I would be honest about that. I would tell you if I had dry shampoo in and if you could see it. I really didn't have any dry shampoo in my hair or anything in my hair yesterday. But I think maybe my hair just looked gray, so that's cute. BB said, Tortilla Talk question, what is the reason for calling Maisie a ladybug? I don't know if you know that in Portuguese, ladybug is Joanina. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. I'm really sorry. That in English is little Joanne, love from Brazil. So Maisie's middle name is Joanne. And I knew that because people told me that in comments before, but I didn't know that when we named her Maisie Joanne, and I didn't know that when we started calling her Ladybug. We called her Ladybug and call her Ladybug because she, when she was in the NICU, she was very, very red. And she still gets really red when she gets mad or upset or whatever. But anyway, she was really red. When she would cry, when she would kind of do anything, like she would just turn like neon bright red. And she gets so red. Everyone talked about it, all the nurses. Everyone was like, whoa, look how red she is. And so I think Eric was the first one to call her Ladybug. And then it just seemed like such a cute little name, and it became like this image for us of like strength and bravery and positivity, like in this situation that felt very dark and scary. And as much as I love all the NICU nurses and doctors, like that place just felt dark and heavy, not because of them. They were the only light, you know, other than my children, was like these incredible healthcare workers helping us. But that time just felt like a dark cloud. And the rooms with the like neon gross fluorescent lighting and just like the cords and the cables and the medicines and the beeps and the machines and like all that, the idea of like, I'm gonna cry, I'm always surprised. The idea of like a beautiful little ladybug in that mess was really like uplifting and hopeful. My room service is here right when I started crying. Okay, hold on. Room service! I got salmon and french fries and a side Caesar salad and chocolate cake. I'm very excited. Okay, so anyway, yeah, ladybugs are just like a very hopeful and lovely image, and they just make us think of Maisie. So yeah. Jacob said, we need a full house tour. A lot of the questions on my vlogs lately have been, can we have a house tour? And yeah, I want to do one. It's just the house is always such a mess. Like, it's a really cool house. It's a big house. And there's a lot of history behind it. There's a lot of stories behind it. But it's just always, like, it's literally always a mess. So I feel like if I did a house tour, I'd have to film it over the course of like a month and be like, oh my God, the twins' room is clean today. I can film this room today. Oh my God, my room is clean today. I can film this room today. Like, you know what I mean? As opposed to like filming it all in one day. You have the house just being a total disaster. Plus we're gonna renovate a lot of the house. So because it's an older house, there's a lot of it that we love. And then there's parts of it that like we really need to fix and change. So like we're probably gonna redo the kitchen. We're probably gonna redo our bedroom and our bathroom and some stuff with the kids' room. So there's like a lot of renovating we're gonna be doing. So I'm like, do I give a tour before and then after and like explain? I don't know. What do you guys want? I know you guys probably just don't even care. You probably just want to see it even if it's a mess, but I don't know. I feel like with my last house, I was always waiting until the whole house was clean and like fully decorated to do a house tour. But obviously that day never came. And so I feel like if I wait for my house to be perfectly clean and decorated and ready, like it will literally never happen. So I shouldn't wait for that. He said, Tortilla Talk question, you said Flavor Flav was really nice and it wasn't what you were expecting. In my last vlog, I talked about how I did a web series with Flavor Flav, and he was like super, super nice. Just curious, was there something about him you were expecting that made you surprised to see how nice he was? Yeah, actually, I was expecting him to be a jerk because I had just had a series of very unfortunate experiences with famous people that I will never reveal my sources. But I had, you know, it was early on in my career and I had just started meeting lots of really cool people. And or I thought were really cool people who turned out to be total jerk faces. And so I just kind of had this idea that like most people in the industry were not awesome and were not good and were terrible people, because that was a lot of my experience. My only experience with Flavor Flav was watching his show, Flavor of Love, which I loved that show. I watched every episode. And in that show, he's this like, maybe you need to go back and rewatch it. But when I did watch it back in the day, I thought he was like kind of slimy and sleazy, only because of my upbringing with purity culture and like, you know, being like a very goody two shoes, that kind of stuff, and being taught that like anything that has to do with anything sexual or sexualizing people in any way is completely, you know, back then is what I thought and what I was taught, like sinful and wrong and like whatever. So I saw him on this television show, and this is back before like The Bachelor and all those shows were really popular. Like I think Bachelor existed, but it was like, it wasn't like it is today. Now we have all these different franchises of different dating shows where people dated a bunch of different people. Back then, there was just like a handful of shows, and Flavor of Love was him dating a bunch of girls and like making out with a bunch of girls and like talking about them in a very explicit manner. And to me, I was always taught and thought that like that meant something really bad and something really negative. And then also I had just worked with and met some people in the industry that were pretty disappointing and were sleazy and awful and tried to take advantage of me. And so my perception of just like famous people that I didn't know, I just kind of assumed everyone was horrible until I met them. And also, he was exceptionally nice. Like that's why I even brought that up in the last vlogs, because it wasn't like he's like, oh yeah, he's really nice. Like it's not like that. Like he was like unusually kind. Like he was so sweet. And I don't know anything about him now. This was, I think, over 10 years ago I shot that web series. So I don't know anything about him now or anything. I haven't kept up with him. We're not friends anymore. Like I haven't spoken to him in literally a decade. And, but during filming, he was so unbelievably kind and generous and funny and like more so than like I could probably tell you like you guys could ask me what celebrities I've met and like if they're nice or super nice or not so nice or whatever, and I'd be pretty honest, and like I'd say he's one of the like most memorable and sweetest, generous celebrities that I've met. So like he was just like shockingly kind, not because of anything other than like he was like, it was shocking. Like he was nicer to me than anyone else was on set, and everyone else was nice, but he's just like, he was very sweet. So yeah, love me some Flavor Flav. My battery's about to die. I'll switch batteries and be right back. Oh my god, I'm in heaven. I love room service. I wonder if there's any other celebrities I could give you tea on. Like, I feel like I've already done that in videos. Like, I feel like I've told you everything in my whole life. Like, every story I could tell you, I've already told you. But if you're like, tell me the nicest celebrities you've ever met, tell me right now. You can't even think about it. Just spitfire go. First person I would say is the Grandes. Like, they're literally the most generous people. Some of the most generous people I've ever met in my life. The entire Grande family. I really love them, and I learned so much from them about being kind and generous and taking care of your family and your friends and your employees. And yeah, I learned a lot just from being around them. Like, just being around them, they're infectious how kind and loving they are. It's contagious. I couldn't say anything better about them. Like, they're wonderful. Honestly, Jimmy Fallon is like one of the first people that pops to my mind. I've done his show a few times, and every time he's been like overly sweet, kind, wonderful, like comes into my dressing room like with so much energy, so sweet, wants to have a conversation. It's not just like a, hey, thanks for coming on the show, and then like walking out. Like, he comes in, he talks to me, and like is so freaking sweet. He's lovely. Honestly, Jerry Seinfeld was like one of the sweetest people too. Like, he was wonderful and lovely to work with. He was really, really nice and very complimentary and very encouraging and kind, and yeah, he was lovely. I'm trying to think of like what other famous people I know. Guys, tell me in the comments what celebrities you want to know about, because like I don't even know who I know. I'm having a hard time even remembering any celebrities I know or have met or have hung out with or whatever. I literally can't think of anybody. But I will say YouTubers and like social media people, the sweetest, like kindest people that I know. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. It's like my friends. Like obviously JoJo is like the sweetest, like just down to earth, cool, wonderful. Like JoJo's wonderful. She's such a sweetheart. She's so generous. She's so kind. She's she's like spends her time and cares about the people in her life. She puts so much thought and hard work and effort into her work and cares so much about everything she does and all the people in her life. She's really lovely. She's like a good egg. Like that is a good kid. Joey Graceffa, I say it all the time, like he is a literal gem of a human. He is so kind and so gentle and sweet and funny and talented and creative and but genuinely like so sweet. One of my favorite human beings. I love him so much. Rosanna Pansino, a doll. She's so freaking nice, so sweet, so freaking nice. Like seriously, Trisha's always been extremely kind to me. Very sweet, very personable, like super nice. Oh, you know who's amazing? Rachel Platten. She's a girl, I mean, you definitely know who she is, but this is my fight song. That's her. She is, oh my God, she's amazing. We became friends because we were both pregnant at the same time when I was pregnant with Flynn, and then she got pregnant, and then right before she had her baby, I think, I got pregnant with the twins. It was like we barely overlapped or something. But we actually were pregnant at the same time when I had my miscarriage, and she was one of the first people I told about my miscarriage. She was like a soul sister, like a rock for me through my pregnancies. We talked all the time. She was just so sweet and such a light and like so kind and positive and encouraging, and she's really awesome. Like she's like a total sweetheart. I love her. I'm sure there's like a million that I'm forgetting, but leave comments and tell me, be like, we want to know about this person. And we'll see if I'm able to tell you any stories about them. So anyway, oh my gosh, that was so yummy. I'm so happy and content. Thanks for hanging out with me while I pull out some clothes that I might wear tomorrow, and while I eat some food. I'm going to get some work done and try to get some rest, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. But love ya, and yeah, I'm probably just gonna cry the rest of the night because I miss my kids. You don't need to see that. You've seen it a million times. And so yeah, I'll do that on the phone to Eric. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.